Hey guys, and welcome to this video on the circulatory system, which is made up of the blood, heart and blood vessels. So in this video we'll be looking at everything in detail. So starting with the blood. So over here you have the red blood cells which carry oxygen around the body. White blood cells help to defend against diseases, so they do this by digesting the pathogen or producing antitoxins to fight and counteract poisons some bacteria release. Some also produce antibodies which give immunity to the pathogen. You also have platelets which are involved in helping to form blood clots at the site of a wound. And all these components are carried by a substance called plasma. So plasma also carries waste products such as urea, all the blood cells, hormones, wastage of CO2 from cells to lungs, amino acids and glucose. So it's important to link the structure of these components to their jobs. So in order for blood cells to carry oxygen, they lack a nucleus in the structure to create more space for the oxygen. Its shape is also very important, and it's known as a biconcave disc shape. So this shape gives a larger surface area to enable more oxygen to be carried. The oxygen also sticks to a molecule called hemoglobin, which is just a red pigment that gives the red color to the blood. So when this pigment combines with oxygen, it forms a compound called oxyhemoglobin. White blood cells however, do have a nucleus, and platelets are just cell fragments. And blood plasma is also liquid that has a pale color. So now let's move on to the heart itself. So I covered a bit of this in the last video, so if you haven't already, go check it out. The link will be in the description box. So in the last video we learned that on the surface of the heart there are some vessels called the coronary pulmonary arteries that carry oxygenated blood. So now let's look at the structure of the heart and how it relates to the circulatory system. So now a human circulatory system is a double system, which means that the blood goes through the heart twice. It's very likely that you'll be required to label a diagram of the heart, and your first step of getting this right is getting your left and right hand side of the heart right, as I know many people get confused in exams. So you have to imagine the heart on the exam paper is the heart of a person standing opposite you. So it is their left side, not your left. So their left side would be this left over here on the slide, and the other side will be the right. And there are two chambers on the left and right hand side, and the upper chambers are called the atrium and the lower ones are called ventricle. So an easy way to remember this is that the bottom of the heart resembles the letter V. So as you can see here, both the chambers look kind of like a V. So V for ventricle, so I'd say the bottom is ventricle, top are atrium. So the vein that brings the blood into the heart is called the vena cava. So since this blood comes from the body, it will be deoxygenated. And then this blood then moves to the right atrium, so up here, and then to the right ventricle. So a valve separates the atrium and ventricle, and it's there to prevent backflow of the blood. And then the right ventricle pushes the blood up into the pulmonary artery. So remember, arteries take blood away from the heart and veins bring blood to the heart. So the pulmonary artery takes the blood to the lungs to get refilled in oxygen. So now this oxygenated blood flows back into the heart, but not from the right hand side. This time it will flow back into the left hand side. So the pulmonary vein brings back blood into the left hand side of the heart, and now it will be in the left atrium, so just over here. And then it moves to the left ventricle, and over here you can see that the wall is quite thick, and it's more thicker than the wall on the opposite side, and this is because this part of the heart has to push the blood to the cells in the body, so it will need a lot of force. So now the ventricle pushes the blood out of the heart through an artery called the aorta, which is the biggest artery in the human system. So now you may be asked to compare the differences between arteries, veins and capillaries. So let's cover that right now. So in an exam, when you're asked to compare the different when you're asked to compare, you need to talk about both the similarities and the differences. So as you can see here, the arteries and veins look really similar as they both have a lumen, which is just the central part of the vessel, and the lumen is surrounded by elastic fibers. The difference between the arteries and veins is the size of both the lumens. So the lumen of the artery is quite narrow. So this is to keep the pressure in the arteries in a high level, which is necessary to get the blood everywhere. Veins, however, don't need high pressure, so they have a larger lumen and less muscles. And because pressure isn't sustained in the veins, there is a chance of blood flowing backwards, and to avoid that we have something called valves. So valves are built a bit like doors, so they open and close to let the blood flow through. And capillaries are just small vessels that transfer blood to the organs. So capillaries have one cell thick walls to allow easy exchange. So there weren't many exam questions regarding this topic. Obviously there was that simple 4-marker asking to compare between the arteries and veins, but I think I attached that in one of the videos before, so I won't be doing that now. So that's it guys, thanks for watching. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe and also comment down some revision tips below.